Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a really important chapter of ancient Egyptian history. It's an era that often gets overlooked, but one that the Egyptians themselves looked back on as their true golden age.
So let me ask you something. Just take a second. When you think of ancient Egypt, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Yeah, for most of us, it's probably those giant pyramids from the Old Kingdom, right? Or maybe all that glittering gold from King Tut's tomb in the New Kingdom. But what if I told you there's this incredible, crucial story that happened right in between those two famous eras?
We are diving into the Middle Kingdom. And look, the ancient Egyptians didn't see this as just some middle period. For them, this was it. This was their classical era, a peak of their civilization, and a time of unbelievable renewal.
This era lasted for about 400 years, and it didn't kick off with some grand new pyramid. Nope, it began with the absolutely massive job of healing a fractured nation, a country torn apart by civil war, and basically bringing it back from the brink.
To really get a handle on what the Middle Kingdom pulled off, we first have to understand the absolute chaos that came right before it.
So after the Old Kingdom government sort of fell apart, Egypt plunged into what historians call the First Intermediate Period. It was basically a time where the country split in two. You had two rival dynasties locked in a bitter struggle for control, one ruling the north and the other ruling the south.
And then out of all this conflict, one guy steps up, Mentuhotep II. He was a king from Thebes, way down in the south. He launched this decisive attack against his rivals up north in a city called Heracleopolis. And he won.
But get this, winning the war was just the start. It took him almost 4 decades, 39 years, to really get everything under control, consolidate his power, and officially glue the two lands of Egypt back together again. That's when the Middle Kingdom officially begins.
Now that reunification set the stage for what came next, the 12th Dynasty. And this is when the Middle Kingdom really hits its stride. I mean, we're talking about the absolute peak of its power, its influence, and its prosperity.
The pharaohs of this era were just brilliant strategists. Instead of constantly trying to conquer new lands, their focus was mostly defensive. They built these incredible, massive fortresses, the walls of the ruler, to lock down their borders, especially against Nubia to the south and potential threats from Asia in the east.
And if you want a face for this era's power, look no further than Senusret III. This guy was a total warrior king, a really formidable figure who wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, personally leading his armies on some pretty brutal campaigns down into Nubia.
But here's what made him a political genius. He didn't just rule with the sword, he completely reformed the government. See, for centuries, Egypt had these powerful regional governors. They were called nomarchs, who passed their power down to their sons. They were a huge problem. Senusret just did away with them. He broke their power for good by appointing his own guys, ensuring loyalty was to him, the pharaoh, not to some local family. It was a game-changing move.
Now, all this political stability and military security wasn't just for its own sake. It created the perfect environment for a cultural and artistic explosion, a renaissance that would end up defining Egyptian art and literature for hundreds and hundreds of years. And you can really feel that sense of peace and prosperity in their own words. Just listen to this quote from a text of the period. It really speaks to how good things were, which allowed art and literature to flourish like never before. In the art world, they were trying all sorts of cool new things, like this, the block statue. It's so simple, but it's incredibly elegant and powerful. And it became one of the most popular and enduring forms in all of Egyptian history. We're talking almost 2,000 years of popularity. It's amazing.
But the literature, oh man, this is where things get truly revolutionary. For the first time, people started writing stories just for fun, for entertainment and intellectual curiosity. This was basically the birth of Egyptian fiction, and works like the story of Sunuha became instant classics. It was like the Harry Potter of its day. Every kid learning to be a scribe had to study and copy it.
But as we all know, golden ages just don't last forever, and the Middle Kingdom was absolutely no exception. Its time was running out.
So where did the cracks start to show? Well, ironically, it began with a super successful pharaoh, Amenemhat III. He had this remarkably long and prosperous reign, over 45 years. But that created a classic problem. When he finally died, it created a huge mess around who should and who could take over.
After a short-lived successor, the throne passed to Sobekneferu, and this is a huge deal. She is the first female pharaoh that we have rock-solid historical proof for. Her taking the throne
This major break in tradition was a pretty clear signal that the powerful old dynasty was running out of gas.
With no obvious heir, the 12th dynasty just collapsed. It was replaced by the 13th dynasty, which was, well, it was chaos. It was just a revolving door of short-lived kings. The central government basically dissolved, with some rulers lasting only a few years, or maybe even just a few months.
And with Egypt in complete internal chaos, it left the door wide open. A group of foreign rulers known as the Hyksos, who had been settling in the Nile Delta, saw their chance. As the pharaoh's power faded, they just stepped in and took control of northern Egypt. And just like that, the Middle Kingdom was over, and Egypt was once again plunged into a period of division.
So you see the whole cycle, right? From chaos to glorious reunification, a golden age of stability and culture, and then all the way back to chaos and division. The story of the Middle Kingdom is incredible, but it leaves us with this one big provocative question. Does every golden age, through its very success, inevitably plant the seeds of its own downfall?
Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, please hit the like button.